welcome. Today I would like to show you Płowce 1339, game released by TIS in their medieval system about one of the most important battles in the history of Poland. A battle fought between Kingdom of Poland and the Knights of the Teutonic Order at the 26th September 1939. It was fought during the war between Kingdom of Poland and the Kingdom of Bohemia and the Knights of the Teutonic Order. Bohemians and Teutons decided to attack Poland together, and while King John of Bohemia entered Greater Poland, then Knights of the Teutonic Order entered Kuyavia. Everything went fine till the moment when the King John tried to seize Poznań. He failed to capture the city, and his army had to start the siege of it, and because of that he couldn't join his allies. So Teutons had to fight alone. And this was the opportunity that King of Poland, Władysław Łokietek, was waiting for. He moved with his entire army against Knights of the Teutonic Order, and he caught them by surprise near the town, near the village of Płowce. He had a lot of luck because his army literally marched onto the rear part of the Teutonic army and attacked them in the morning fog, literally slaughtering the Teutons, capturing their wagon trains, their infantry, and capturing a lot of prisoners, including a lot of Knights of the Teutonic Order's nobles and leaders. But right in the same moment, the other part of the Teuton army just realized that something bad happened to their rear part. So they turned back and joined the battle. And now the situation was much different because Polish knights fought for some time. They were already a bit tired, and Knights of the Teutonic Order entered the battle with their full might. At this moment, Polish forces started to withdraw from the battlefield, but they managed to retreat and in order, and because of that, battle was considered a draw. But despite being a draw, Teutons suffered heavy losses, and seeing that they cannot count on their Bohemian ally, they decided to retreat to the Toruń and to finish this part of the war. So, because of this battle, Kingdom of Poland was essentially saved. So that's what this battle was about. And now let's take a look on the game. The game covers three scenarios. First of them, which is set up here, shows the first part of the battle. Polish army just enters the battlefield, while the rear part of the Knights of the Teutonic Order army is moving down the road. Both sides were actually quite surprised because of this meeting. No one expected their enemies to be here, but Poles had an advantage and they attacked first. There are two more scenarios. Second scenario shows the situation when the major part of the Teutonic army enters the battlefield. And finally, there is a third scenario, which is hypothetical scenario, showing how this battle would look like if both sides would meet each other in the typical medieval battle. This game was released in the medieval system. I talked more about basics, about the rules, etc. in my video about Hattin game, so if you'd like to check more about rules, please take a look at that video. Of course, I will try to talk about rules too, but it won't be a step-by-step tutorial video like before. So, I'm going to play this first scenario, and about the special scenario rules. In the first turn, all the Polish units have +1 to their attacks. this shows the fact that Poles gained an advantage because of the surprise. Next, all the Polish commanders have a fatigue level of 2, while all the Teutonic commanders have a fatigue level of 5. Every commander that enters the battlefield as a reinforcement has a fatigue of 2. At the beginning of the game, all the crossbowmen and archers are in the marching setup, so I should set them like that, and you can see this arrow here. This means that they are marching. This means that they cannot fire in the same turn, and if they are going to change into fire position in the turn 2, they have a 1 hex range only. In the later turns, of course, if they will survive, they can fire normally. And any other stuff? I think no. I think that's all when it comes to the special scenario rules, and we can start our game. So, let's start our game. We are starting with turn 1, and of course, Poles are moving first. So, I will start with this group, and I'm moving this heavy cavalry. 1, 2, and now they are entering this hex because these archers are in the movement mode, and because of that, cavalry can trample them. This means they are simply removed. You don't get victory points for them, but they are eliminated at the cost of 1 movement point. So it was 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. And now I have to place the impetus counter of 1. Why 1? Because impetus is reduced every time you are changing your facing. So for example, when I moved 1, 1, 2, I got 2. I entered this unit, this hex, and trampled them, so my impetus was reduced by 1. I changed my facing, so it was now reduced to 0, and I entered this hex, so it is 1. Okay, now them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2. So that's all for them. Now here. I am moving here. I got 1. Here. 1. I am moving here. 1. And now here. 1. They are moving 1, 2, so they got 2. You cannot get more than the number of your shields. You cannot get more than 1 number more than the number of your shields. So for example, they have 2 shields, and because of that they can get 3. They can these guys have 1 shield, so they can get 2. So now they have 2, because they moved 2 hexes in the straight line, and now these guys can declare countercharge. So they are doing this by moving 1 hex in the straight line. They get impetus of 1, and now we have to resolve this combat, because when you are making a countercharge, then you have to check the combat result instantly. So, what do we have here? Both sides have same strength of 2, both sides have same number of shields, so it is still 1-to-1. Poles have impetus of 2, so it's +1 for Poles, so it's 1-to-2 because Teutons are attacking. And they have a commander, and if they are fighting with commander on the same hex, they have +2. So now they have +2, and because of that, the result of combat is 2-to-1. You may remember about this Polish modifier in the turn 1. Yes, but it is only used when Poles are attacking. So we have 2-to-1 for Teutons and 8. 8 in the 2-to-1 is nothing. So they are losing their impetus, but they cannot do much. Nothing happened really. And first of all, I moved these units. You can see that maybe I can zoom in a bit. That certain units are marked with the strap with the color matching their commander, and it is easy to see that if I moved these units that belong to this commander, and these units belong to this commander, etc., etc., it is easier to see who is fighting where. I will move my commander as well, and because of that I have to move his fatigue marker by 1. I will also move this commander here so he can support his units. So I have to move his commander, his fatigue marker by 1. And now them. 1, 2, 3. Impetus of 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. So his fatigue is changed by 1. And I will move his other units here. I will keep them as reserve. Now I have some other units here and there. I'm not going to move them, maybe. Well, I will keep them as a reserve. I will not move them, so they won't get a fatigue level. And them, well, I want them to move. They are moving down the road, and when you are moving down the road, you don't have to change your facing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and because this commander isn't with any unit, he's instantly captured. This shows a historical situation. It is von Altenburg. He is Great Marshal of the Knights of the Teutonic Order, and he was captured right at the beginning of this battle, which was a big morale boost for Polish army. So I have to remove him from the battlefield. And now, because I was here and I changed my facing, I entered this hex, I get impetus of 1, and I have to move this commander fatigue marker by 1. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, sorry, half, because when you are moving down the road you spend a half of movement point. I think, let me check if I am correct. Yes, it is half of movement for cavalry units. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no, 3, because I'm moving down the road. 4, 5, 6. And impetus of 1. And they will all move like that. So, that's all for the Polish movement phase, and now we can go into the Polish combat phase. So let's resolve combat. Let's start here. And now we have 2 versus 2, so it is 1 to 1. 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the shields, 4 to 1 because of the impetus, 5 to 1 because of the Polish modifier in the turn 1, and 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, and 6 to 1 because we are in... no, sorry, 5 to 1 because he has 1 hex range. So he can support only his units in the 1 hex range. So he cannot support this unit, so it's 5 to 1. Let's make a roll. Oh, 5 to 1 and 9. This is B1 minus 1. This means that defender suffers 1 loss and has to retreat 1 hex. But you cannot retreat through your friendly units, and you cannot retreat through the front hex of the enemy units. Because of that, this unit is eliminated. He cannot retreat here, a front side of the enemy unit. He cannot retreat here because this is friendly unit, and you always have to retreat through your back zone. Because of that, this unit is eliminated. And Polish unit enters this hex. Now them. They have 2. They have 2. They have 1 shield. They have 1 shield. They have +2 because of the impetus, so it's 3 to 1. And 4 to 1, 5 to 1 because of the commander. So it is 5 to 1 and 8. It is B2. So they have to retreat 2 hexes. 1, 2. They have to make a scatter roll. They are heavy infantry because they have 1 shield. So if they will roll 1, they will scatter. No, they not. And Polish unit can pursue it. Do I want to pursue it? Yes. 1, 2. I will pursue it like that. Now here we have 2 versus 2, so it's 1 to 1. 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the shields. 4 to 1 because of the impetus, and 5 to 1 because of this Polish modifier in the turn 1. Oh, 5, no, -1 B1. This means that attacker suffers 1 loss, defender has to retreat 1 hex. And because they are light infantry, they have to make a scatter roll, and they are scattered. So they are removed from the board and placed on the scatter track, and this unit might pursue it. And now them. They are attacking from the unit's rear zone, and because of that, defender's strength is always halved. So it is 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the shield's difference, 4 to 1 because of the impetus, and 5 to 1 because of the Polish modifier. So it's 5 to 1 again, and it is 8. This is B2. So this unit has to retreat 2 hexes. 1, 2. It can. Now I have to make a scatter roll. 2. But they are heavy infantry, so they are fine. And Polish unit decides to pursue. Okay. Now here. They are attacking these crossbowmen, but they are in the wagon train. And when you are in the wagon train, you get +2. When you are when infantry unit is defending in the wagon train. So I got 2, and they have now 2. So it is 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the commander, 4 to 1 because of the impetus. Oh, sorry, no. Impetus is not working when you are attacking wagon train. So again, it is 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, and 4 to 1 because of Polish modifier. 4 to 1 and 8. B1 -1. because of the fact that archers and crossbowmen have only one level. They normally each unit has two levels, but crossbowmen and archers have only one level. So when they suffer one loss, they are eliminated. And this wagon train is captured by Płowce. Cavalry cannot enter the hexes with wagon trains. Next, here we have 1-1, 2-1 because of the shields, 3-1, 4-1 because of the impetus, and 5-1 because of the Polish modifier. 9 in the 5-1, it is B1 -1, so defender suffers one loss, and they have to retreat one hex, and since they cannot retreat, they are eliminated. Polish unit pursues here, and now, since they had impetus of 2 and they managed to destroy the enemy or force them away, and they made a pursuit without changing their facing, they can keep their impetus lowered by 1. So now they have 1. Next, here, these two units are attacking this one. We have 4 versus 2, so it's +1. So it's 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1 because of the Polish modifier, 5-1 because of the commander, and 4-1, 3-1 because of the enemy commander on the same hex. So it's 3-1 and 7. It is B1. So defender has to retreat one hex. They can, so they are moving here, and this Polish unit pursues. They are attacking here. We have 4 versus 2, so it's 2-1, 3-1 because of the impetus, because we are using only the higher impetus possible. So we don't get +1 and +1, but we only get +1. So we get 2-1, 3-1 because of the impetus, 4-1 because of the shield's difference, 5-1 because of the commander on the adjacent hex, 6-1 because of the Polish modifier, and 5-1 because of the enemy commander on the adjacent hex. So it's 5-1 and 6. It is B2 -1. Oh, that's bad. First they suffer one loss, and now they have to retreat 2 hexes. And well, they don't have any area where they can retreat, because this hex is occupied by the friendly unit, same here, and this hex is in the enemy front zone. So because of that, this unit is eliminated. Polish unit performs a pursuit. And finally here, we have 2 versus 2, so it's 1-1. We have shields difference 1 versus 2, so it's 1-2. We have impetus, so it's 1-1. Both sides have commanders on the adjacent hexes, and Płowce have this modifier for the attack in the turn 1, so it is 2-1 for Płowce. 6 in the 2-1, it is B1, so defender has to retreat 1 hex, and Płowce are performing a pursuit. Next here, we have 2 versus 2, 2 shields versus 1 shield, so it's 2-1, 3-1, 4-1 because of the Polish commander, 5-1 because of the Polish modifier, and 4-1 because of the commander on the adjacent hex. So it is, let me check if I am correct, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1 because of the Polish modifier, and 4-1 because of the enemy commander. Yes, it's fine. 4-1 and 10, it is -1 B1. So they have to retreat 1 hex. They cannot. Oh, I forgot about one thing. There is a banner, and if you are fighting on the hex adjacent to the banner, you also get +1. so it should be not 4 to 1 but 3 to 1 instead, and 10 in the 3 to 1 is -1 -1, so both sides suffer one loss. And now I have to roll for the Polish commander. Since his unit suffered one loss, and if a unit with a commander suffers one loss or it is forced to retreat, we have to make a roll to see if commander wasn't killed or wounded. 3, he's fine. Okay. And finally, one more combat. We have same strength, same number of shields, and +1 because of the impetus, so it's 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the commander on the adjacent hex, and 4 to 1 because of the Polish modifier in the turn 1. So it's 4 to 1, and now 3 to 1 because of the commander, 2 to 1 because of the banner. So it is 2 to 1, and 5, it is B1 -1. Nah, that's bad. They suffer one loss, and they have to retreat. And yes, they cannot retreat. Because of that, they are eliminated, and Polish unit can pursue it. Do I want to make a pursuit? Well, maybe not. Big End. If I don't want to make a pursuit, I have to count the number of hexes between the unit and its commander. It is 1 hex range. Now I have to make a roll, and if it will be 1, I will have to pursue it. Any other result allows me to ignore the pursuit. It is 3, so I don't have to pursue it, and I can stay where I am. And that's all when it comes to the Polish combat phase. Yeah, that's all. I think... yeah, I forgot to move this commander's fatigue marker. So, that's all for the Poles, and it's time for Teutons to make their actions. Well, they are not in a very good shape, and their position is pretty bad. Poles clearly have an advantage, so let's see what they can do. Okay, and now as for Teutons, their movement phase will be a bit different because they have both infantry and cavalry units. Poles have cavalry only so far, so I could make only a single phase for them for the movement and single for the combat. But if your army contains both infantry and cavalry, you have to make your cavalry movement first. Next, you are making your cavalry combat, and next you are making your infantry movement and your infantry combat. This is pretty important to remember about. Okay, so we are starting with Teutonic Knights cavalry movement. I will move this unit here. They get an impetus of 1. They are moving here. They also gain an impetus of 1. They are adjacent to the enemy unit, so they cannot move at all. Same goes to them, and I don't have any other cavalry units. So that's all for the cavalry movement, and let's resolve combat. I will start here. So they are attacking, these 2 units are attacking this one. So my impetus is 1. I have 4 versus 2, so it's 2 to 1. 3 to 1 because of the commander, and 4 to 1 because of the impetus, and 3 to 1 because of the Polish commander on the adjacent hex. So it's 3 to 1, and oh, one more thing, 4 to 1 because of the banner. So it's 4 to 1 and 10. Oh, it is -1 B1. So attacker has to suffer 1 loss, that it will be them, and the defender has to retreat 1 hex. They will move here, and because commander was involved, so I have to make a roll for his possible loss. He's fine. Next, them. They have to attack. Why? Because when you have an enemy unit on the adjacent hex, you have to attack. So we have 1 versus 1. It's 1 to 1. 1 versus 1 shield versus 2 shields, so it's -1, so it's 1 to 2. A commander 1 to 1, and a banner 2 to 1. And the commander 1 to 1. So it is 1 to 1 and 6. It is nothing. So nothing happened. Both sides are fighting against each other, but no one suffered any significant losses. Next combat goes here. We have 2 and 2, so it's 4 versus 2, so it's 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the shields difference, 4 to 1, 5 to 1 because of the commander, 6 to 1, 7 to 1 because of the banner. So it is 7 to 1 and 3. It is -1 b5. Oh my. So they suffer 1 loss. I don't want my commander to be killed by accident, and they have to retreat 5 hexes. Well, they cannot. This hex is in the front zone of this unit, this hex is in the front zone of this unit, and they would have to suffer 5 losses, and because of that they are eliminated. I also have to mark the fatigue level of these 2 commanders, and, well, first him, because he is involved in combat as well. So let's resolve this combat. He is attacking these 2 units, so it is 2 versus 4, -2 versus 4, so it is 1 to 2. 2 shields versus 2 shields, so nothing, and it was 1 to 2, 1 to 1 and 2 to 1 because of the commander. So it is 2 to 1 and 6. It is b1. So defender has to retreat 1 hex, and they are pursuing. And now I have to mark the fatigue of these 3 commanders. So I am moving their fatigue markers by 1. And next I have infantry movement phase. So I can move Teutonic infantry now. Couple of my infantry units are in the wagon trains, and this is good. Not only they get a modifier when they are defending in the wagon train, but when you are in the wagon train you don't have to attack adjacent enemy units. So that's pretty good. I will change them into firing mode. Same goes to them. They are in the wagons. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Infantry can change their facing as they like, while cavalry has to spend 1 movement for each facing they change. Then infantry might change facing as they like, spending 1 movement point. So 1, 2, 3. And now here the situation is more complicated. These poor guys are, well, what they can do? Well, not much. I think I will change my facing here. That's all I can do, and that's all. Okay, so now let's resolve infantry combat phase, and they have to attack here. So they are attacking with 2, and now it is 1 to 1, -1 because of the shields difference, -1 because of the impetus, and -1 because of the commander on the adjacent hex. So it was 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, and 1 to 4. Like I said, it is going to be bad. 1 to 4 and 5. It is A1. So attacker has to retreat 1 hex. they cannot retreat, so they suffer 1 loss. Next here, 2 versus 2, so it's 1 to 1, and because of the shield's difference is 1 to 2. And 3, not bad, well, could be better. -1 and B1. This means that defender suffers 1 loss and attacker has to retreat 1 hex. And I have to pursue it. Why do I have to pursue it? Well, because there are no friendly commanders around. And if there are no friendly commanders around, you always have to make a pursuit. Next, here, these 2 units are attacking this unit. So they have 4 versus 2, so it's 2 to 1. The number of the shields is the same, so it is still 2 to 1, but Poles have a commander, so it's -2, and because of that it is 1 to 2. And 10 in the 1 to 2 is A1. Attacker has to retreat 1 hex. They can and they cannot, because both possible retreat hexes are in the enemy front zones. Because of that, this unit suffers 1 loss. And this is the end of the infantry movement, and now we have to check a scatter track. There is 1 unit on the Teutonic scatter track, and because of that we can remove it and place it anywhere near any friendly commander. So will be placed here. You are always taking a half of your units that are on the scatter track, but you can but if there is not a round number, you have to round it up. So for example, if you have 3 units, you can take 2. So that's all when it comes to the turn 1, and now we have to check for the morale change. We are checking the number of units destroyed and the commanders captured in this turn, and we have to change the morale level. When it comes to the units, you get one morale shift for each enemy units destroyed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For Poles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 for Teutons, it is 1, and commander. Notice that he has a star. This means that he is overall commander, and because of that Poles get +8. This is pretty impressive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when the overall commander is captured, this means, let me check. You have to reduce strength of the 15 units nearby by 1. This means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and well, 15. Yes, losing an overall commander is a very bad thing. And to remember which units were destroyed and which are not in the given turn, it is always a great idea to remove these units from the game and place it somewhere else, to not let them mix it with units that will be destroyed in the next turns. So this concludes turn 1, and now we are moving into turn 2. In the turn 2, Polish army is gaining some reinforcements, and they are entering from the, let me check, I believe from they are all entering from the same zone. Yes, they are entering from the zone P, which is here, and they are set up here, and they will be entering game from this zone. So we can start turn 2. As you can see, this scenario is pretty one-sided. Teutons are in a really bad situation. The best they can do is to inflict as many losses to Poles as possible, because if you are going to play both scenarios together, Poles have to include their losses and their fatigue levels in the scenario too. So if they will suffer some heavy losses in this scenario, then they might have some issues in the second scenario. Before we will start the turn 2, let's take a look at the morale track, because now you will be able to see the difference. Because of the heavy losses and the loss of their army commander, Knights of the Teutonic Order morale fell down, and now Poles have a morale boost of +2. What it means? Because of that, Poles will get a +2 for each time they are attacking. This is pretty good bonus, and I think this will change the situation for good when it comes to Poles. Okay. Like I said, Polish player has no infantry in this part of the battle, so we are going to resolve cavalry stuff only. Okay, so let's go. I will move them here. They get impetus of 1. Now they are going to be involved in combat. Same goes to them. Now here, this unit moves here, they get impetus of 1, and this cavalry performs countercharge, so they also get an impetus of 1. So let's resolve it. We get 1 versus 2, so it's 1 to 2. We got higher number of shields, so it's 1 to 1. Both sides have impetus, so nothing, and there is a Polish commander here, so it's 1 to 2. So the odds are 1 to 2. Let's make a roll. It's 6. 6 in the 1 to 2. It is -1 for the attacker. Oh hell, this is bad. This means that this unit is eliminated, and the Polish unit might perform a pursuit if they like. Well, they won't. They are moving here, but that's all. Because when your unit was involved in the countercharge, it cannot move any further. So that's all when it comes to them. And now here, 1, 2, I am moving here and I get an impetus of 2. They are involved in combat, and now them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. They get an impetus of 1. Okay. Now them. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are moving like that. And since all the commanders are involved in combat, I believe, no, well, not. They are not. He is involved. They are not. And he is involved. So I will have to change their fatigue. And as for the others, I believe I'm not going to make much movement now, because, well, let's check. I'm not going to move them because they are, well, kinda my reserve, and now I have to move these units that are entering the game as reinforcements. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. and the remaining units have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are moving like that. Let's place their commander, and they are entering the game with a fatigue of 2. So I place their fatigue marker here. Okay, and who else? Well, they don't have to do much movement. So I believe that's all when it comes to the Polish movement. I will start here. I have 2 versus 1, so it's +1. I have a shield advantage, so it's also +1, so it's 3 to 1, 4 to 1 and 5 to 1 because of the morale difference. So it's 5 to 1 and 4. This is B3 minus 1. So defender has to retreat 3 hexes and suffer 1 loss. Because of that, they are eliminated. And I am pursuing here. Next, these 3 units are attacking this single light infantry units. Well, this is going to be a massacre. We have 2, 3 and 5, so it's 5 to 1, 6 to 1 because of the impetus, 7 to 1, 8 to 1 because of the commander, and 9 to 1, 10 to 1 because of the morale. So it would be 10 to 1, and we can get more than 9 to 1. 3. Oh, interesting. Well, they have to retreat 5 hexes and they suffer 1 loss, so they are eliminated. But defender suffers 1 loss as well. So here, and I have to, no, I don't have to roll for the unit, for the commander, because his unit is not the one that suffers any losses or has to retreat. So that's all for this part, and now let's go here. 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the shield, and 4 to 1, 5 to 1 because of the morale. 5 to 1 and 8, it is B2. They have to retreat 2 hexes. They cannot, they are eliminated. Polish unit is in the 1, 2, 3 hexes from their commander, so I have to roll. Well, they have to pursue it. Now then, these 3 units are attacking this one, so we have 6 versus 1, it's 6 to 1, 6 to 1, 7 to 1 because of the commander, 8 to 1, 9 to 1 because of the morale, 8 to 1, 7 to 1 because of the commander. So it's 7 to 1 and 5, it is B3. He cannot retreat anywhere, so he is eliminated. And next, here, I am attacking this unit with that unit. I have 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, and 5 to 1 because of the commander, 6 to 1, 7 to 1 because of the morale, and 6 to 1 because of the commander, 5 to 1 because of the banner. 6, it is B2 minus 1. So he cannot retreat anywhere, so he's dead. I am making a pursuit here, and my impetus is lowered by 1. Now, these guys are attacking here. 1 versus 1, so nothing. Same strength, same number of the shield. 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the commander. 4 to 1, 5 to 1 because of the morale. And 4 to 1 because of the commander. 4 to 1 and 6, B2. They cannot retreat, so they are eliminated. And if unit is on the same hex with as commander, it doesn't have to perform a pursuit. And finally, one more combat here. 2 to 1 because of the strength, 3 to 1 because of the impetus, 4 to 1, 5 to 1 because of the morale, 4 to 1 because of the commander. 4 to 1 and 10, it is -1 b1. So attacker suffers 1 loss and defender has to pursue it, has to retreat. I have to make a roll and they scatter. And now I'm going to make a roll for their pursuit. It is 2, so it is 3, so they are fine. They don't have to pursue it. Okay, and now I have to change my fatigue for the commanders who were involved in combat. Well, he was involved in combat. He was involved in combat. And, oh, I forgot about him. I am attacking this crossbowman. I have 2 versus 1, so it's 2 to 1. And they get +2 because they are in the wagon train. And they have shields of +2, so it's nothing. It's still 2 to 1. 3 to 1, 4 to 1 because of the commander. 5 to 1, 6 to 1 because of the morale. Oh, 6 to 1 and 3. This is -1 b4. So attacker suffers 1 loss and defender has to retreat 4 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4. First I have to roll for the possible commander's loss. 4, he's 5. And now for them being scattered, 1, they are scattered. And this wagon train is captured by Płowce. Okay, so that's all for the Polish part of the turn. Now we are moving into Knights of the Teutonic Order. Not much of them remain on the battlefield, yeah. Okay, first cavalry units. I have only 2 cavalry units remaining on the battlefield, and they are going to be involved in this combat. So that's all. Let's perform this attack. We have 1 and 1, so it's 2 versus 2, so it's 1 to 1. They have 1 shield and they have 2 shields, so it's 2 to 1 because of the shields difference. 3 to 1, 4 to 1 because of the commander, 5 to 1, 6 to 1 because of the banner, and 5 to 1 because of the Polish impetus, 4 to 1 because of the commander on the adjacent hex. So it's 4 to 1 and 4. It is -1 b2. So defender has to retreat 2 hexes and attacker suffers 1 loss. Oh hell. So this unit is eliminated. And since there are no more units that belong to this commander, he is removed from the battlefield as well. And I have to perform a pursuit with this unit. Well, I don't have to, because they are with commander. And because when they are in commander, they don't have to perform a pursuit. As for the cavalry with 1 shield, I have to make if I will roll 1, they are scattered, they are not. So that's all for the Teutonic Knights cavalry combat phase, and we are moving into infantry movement phase. So, what this poor infantry can do? I think that the best thing I can do is to move them here and them here, because this both units have 1 point, and because of that they can stack. So this is good. And as for them, well, they can't do much. I'll flip them like that. And here, well, if they will move, this cavalry will countercharge on them instantly, so I think it's pointless to make any movement with them, so let them stay where they are. I'm not making any attacks because they are in the wagon train, so they don't have to attack adjacent units. And now I have 2 units on the scatter track, so I can take 1, and I am taking this unit and placing it here. And this concludes second turn of the game. We are starting with turn 3. There are no reinforcements in the turn 3, so we can go straight into the Polish cavalry movement phase. Okay, so let's start here. They are moving here. They get impetus of 1. And they are moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So their impetus is also 1. 1 and 2. And 1 and 2. They will join the battle. So that's all when it comes to them. This commander was moving, so I have to move his fatigue marker by 1. And now here. Well, I have to take care of these wagon trains, so let's go. I am not getting impetus because you cannot use impetus when you are attacking against wagon trains. I think this makes sense, because when cavalry attacks wagons it cannot get much of the impetus. And now I will move my commander here and there, so they will provide support for this combat. And now here, this cavalry moves here, they are charging here, 1, and now the question is if they want to counter charge. I believe yes, they want, because if they will do so, they will be allowed to get their own impetus, which is pretty useful. So let's resolve this combat. Poles have 2, Teutons have 1, so we have 1 to 2. Next, both sides have same number of shields, both sides have same impetus, so it's still 1 to 2, but Knights of the Teutonic Order has commander, so it's +2, so it's 2 to 1, and banner, so it's 3 to 1, 4 to 1, while Poles have a commander on the adjacent hex, so it's 3 to 1. So the final odds are 3 to 1 and 4, not bad. This is B2. So attacker has to retreat 2 hexes, 1, 2. And I have to roll for their possible scatter. No, they don't have to. So this unit remains here. So I will move them. And anything else? I'm keeping Polish banner safe out of the enemy range. I believe that's all when it comes to Poles. Yes. Oh no, wait a moment. I will move these guys to get them closer. And this commander, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will move them like that. Okay, so this concludes Polish movement phase. We are moving into the Polish cavalry combat phase. I will start here. So we have 2, 3, 4, and 6. So it's 6 to 1, 7 to 1 because of impetus, and 8 to 1, 9 to 1, 8 to 1 because of the shields difference, and 9 to 1 because of the commander. So 9 to 1 and 8. It's B3, so they are done. I think I forgot about one thing. Yes, I think I forgot about changing morale track, but Teutons suffered so many losses that it is now on the lowest level. It's -3. Since Poles lost no units in the previous turn, so it is -3. Okay, so I will make my pursuit here, and now let's go here. These two guys are attacking them. We have 4 versus 2, so it's 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the commander, 4 to 1 because of the shields difference, 7 to 1 because of the morale difference, and 5 to 1 because of the wagon train. So it's 5 to 1 and 9. It is B1 -1. So they have to retreat 1 hex. So they are retreating here, and they have to suffer 1 loss. Because of that, 1 unit is eliminated. This wagon train is captured. Now they are attacking here. We have 2 versus 2, so it's 1 to 1. 3 to 1 because of the commander, and 6 to 1 because of the morale, and 4 to 1 because of the wagon train. And it is 9. It is B1. So defender has to retreat 1 hex. And if they are in the wagon train, they can suffer 1 loss and not retreat. So they are going to stay where they are. They are attacking here. We have 2 versus 1, so it's 2 to 1. 3 to 1 because of the shields difference. 4 to 1 because of the commander. 7 to 1 because of the morale. And 5 to 1 because of the wagon train. 8 in the 5 to 1, it is B2. So they have to retreat 2 hexes. 1 and 2. A wagon is captured. Now here we have 2 versus 2, it's 1 to 1, and 4 to 1 because of the morale, 3 to 1, 2 to 1 because of the wagon train, 7 in the 2 to 1, it is -1 B1. So attacker suffers 1 loss, defender has to retreat. So they decide to sacrifice 1 unit and to stay in the wagon. Next, here we have 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, 6 to 1, and 9 to 1 because of the morale, 7 to 1 and 5 to 1. So it is 5 to 1 and 4. Oh, no good. B3 -1. So this unit suffers 1 loss, and because of that it is eliminated. And commander is done. And Poles also are allowed to capture Teutonic banner. Okay, and finally the last combat goes here. We have 1 versus 1, so it's 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, and 6 to 1 because of the morale. 6 to 1 and 4, it is B3. 1, 2, 3. I have to roll for their scatter. 1, they are scattered. And I can perform a pursuit here. So that's all for the Polish cavalry. Yes, that's all, and we can go into the Teutonic Knights part. They have no cavalry already, so we can skip their cavalry movement and combat phase and go straight into the infantry movement and combat phase. Well, the problem is that even their infantry can't do much. I will move this infantry here, I will move this infantry there, and they will remain where they are. They are in the wagons, so they don't have to attack, and they have to. So it is 1 to 1. Both sides have same strength, same number of the shields, so it is straight 1 to 1. and 5, 1 to 1 and 5, it is -1, B1. So defender has to retreat 1 hex, attacker suffers 1 loss, so he's eliminated. I can now take 1 unit from the scatter track. I will take this one and place it here, and this concludes turn 3. Okay, we are starting turn 4, and I think this is going to be the last turn of the game. Well, let's check. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I get an impetus of 3. One, 2, 3. I got 2. And now, when you are moving and you are adjacent to the enemy unit and your impetus is 2 or more, you can actually ignore the fact that you entered enemy front hex and you can move forward. Next, they are moving here. They get impetus of 1, and commander goes here to provide some support. They will be attacking this unit. He goes here, they go here. And I think the situation is pretty obvious. Well, they are going to be eliminated in no time. Let's calculate it. I have 2 and 4, so it's 7. 7 versus 2 is 3 to 1. And 3 to 1, 6 to 1 because of the impetus, and 9 to 1 because of the morale. So it is 9 to 1, oh, 11. It is B2. So they have to retreat 2 hexes, and I have to roll for their scatter. 6, they are fine, and Płowce can perform a pursuit with their impetus lowered by 1. So now here I have 1, 2 and 3 versus 2, so it's 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the commander, and 6 to 1 because of the morale. So it is 6 to 1 and 3, it is -1 B4. Okay, 1 Polish unit has to suffer 1 loss, and all the 3 Polish units have only 1 level, so one of them will be eliminated. And they have to retreat 3 hexes, well, they cannot. And they can only ignore 1 retreat result, so they are eliminated. This wagon train is captured by Płowce, and now here 2, 4, 6, 8 versus 2, so it's 4 to 1. 5 to 1 because of the commander, 8 to 1 because of the morale, and 6 to 1 because of the wagon train. So it's 6 to 1 and 6. It is B2 -1. So they have to suffer 1 loss. They can ignore 1 retreat result, but they cannot ignore second retreat result, so they are eliminated, and this wagon is captured by Płowce. Okay, and next I have, that's all when it comes to the Polish combat, and now we are going to the Teutonic Knights. So this infantry can only stay here and fight against this cavalry. We have 1 versus 1, and -1, -2 because of the impetus, -3, -4 because of the shield difference. So it is 4 to 1 and 9. It is A2 -1. So 1, 2, 1 loss. And I think I can call it a day. I mean, there is only 1 lone light infantry Teutonic unit on the board, and this is turn 4. So let me check for a moment. Where do I have? Yeah. At the turn of 9, The other Teutonic Knights units are about to arrive on the battlefield. So Polish player might have his choice. He might simply stay and do not move any of his units to let them rest and get their fatigue back to zero, or he can move some of them and took better positions for the upcoming second stage of the battle, but his units will be, well, a bit tired, but Teutonic units will be fresh. So that's the choice a Polish player has. He has 5 turns now. He can spend them as he likes, he can move his units, he can let them rest, what he likes. And this is the first scenario showing the first stage of the battle. As you can see, it ended just like in the history. Teutonic Knights were massacred. There was not a single unit remain alive. As for Polish losses, well, Polish side lost 2 cavalry units, which is not a very bad thing. The biggest problem is that some Polish units suffered losses too, but what is pretty important, none of the Polish commanders was killed. So I think that Polish side is pretty well prepared for the second stage of the battle, and I think that's all for today. I think I was able to show you how this game works. You may think that as for now it looked very one-sided. Well, that's how it was in the history. But the second stage, where a lot of Teutonic cavalry units emerges on the battlefield, might look very differently. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.